Okay, guys, I'm going to go to Ask Scruff, and it's for Darren. So it's a little salute to you, kid. And it's an interesting question, and certainly at this time when the markets are all over the place. Now, you'll see a lot of sort of channels and one thing or another going, "Oh, are we in a new cycle? Is it the Great Reset?" Well, we've been talking about that for 2 years. So when you're day trading, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter in the slightest. And that kind of leads into this question. So flip this over. Morning, Scruff. Here's USD. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's gold. It's actually the gold pair, but it doesn't matter if you're looking at spot gold or the gold pair. The actual movement is the same. The difference is speed of movement and price of asset. The pair is incredibly quick, but it's, how do I put it? It can be brutal. Okay, whereas spot is relatively slow, but the actual movement of the market is pretty much identical. And it's close to making new highs. If it hits these, normally price drops off. Does it? Never assume anything in the markets, my friend. And how would you trade this asset at the moment? Looks like it may have run out of steam. Now all time frames are back to red. I'm just unsure what to do. Okay. It's not as difficult as you think it. Even sort of this one that we were looking at the other day, which is platinum. It's a horrible market. It's all over the place. But if you follow the rules of the levels, as you can see, came in, we sort of surmised that we wanted to get to this blue line where it hit that, stalled, and anywhere in the green zone. Well, it did it. But look what it did to the levels. It dropped off and it respected every single one of them. And even when it slammed back up, it stalled at the key points. So in this situation here, you could have said that huge candle was a signal of a reversal. But it's a sideways market. So therefore, all it was a signal of was it was the bottom of the market and it will bounce up. Well, it did. And again, came down. Is that a reversal? Or is it a bounce? Well, it's a bounce. And what did we see? Level, level. And it followed the levels right through. Even when it did an island cluster, which is here, where it opens in and goes sporadic. Now, the thing with markets like this, they do gap all over the place. It gapped bang on the key levels that we put in. Stall, stall. Again, fell off, stopped at the level. Bang, bang. All the way back up, stopped at the levels, and then has come back down and has respected them. So what's this got to do with the price of bread? Well, if we look at oil, gold rather, from a similar scenario. So if I pull up gold and we go here, let me just take the indicators off for a while, but I'm going to leave the Bollinger Band on. Okay. Now, if we drop this out to monthly, and I just showed you the said chart, okay. Well, let's take the levels off as well, just for a moment. And I showed you that, but I didn't tell you what the time frame was. You would say that's up. Automatically. That's up. So why would you trade against it? There is no sign of that giving out at this moment in time. Yes, we're at the end of the month, and yes, you are right. It is close to a high. But it was close to a high here. Fell away, came back to there. So you're in the exact same scenario you're talking about now. And you can say, oh, well, it's at an all-time high. You can't go any higher. I think you find it can. But what you've got to remember is that's a monthly chart. So that would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So for 7 months it sold off. But in the grand scheme of things, it was a short pullback. Now, take it down in the weekly and you start having a look. Again, it's not really showing any signs of letting up. Could there be a short-term pullback? Highly possible. But again, you can see pressure waves coming in. You know, up, down, up, down. So the pullbacks are incredibly shallow in relation to the upsurge. Take it down into a daily. Now we're talking same sort of scenario. So if this is now going to be pushing higher and you have a narrative to the high, put on this, well, how far can it go? Let's get rid of that. Well, that is a decent movement. In fact, it's an incredibly good movement. So I wouldn't be too frightened of trading into that at all. Why? Because there's nothing here that tells me to say it can only go in a singular direction. Will it sell off? Highly possible. We now got a sort of third state of the Bollinger Band, if you like, where it's starting to close in on itself. You know, and if you're familiar with the 4 states, you'll understand that, because the Bollinger Band has 4 states. It's compression, the flare, the weakening, and the collapse. All right, so it's actually coming into the 4th state as well. But they're the 4 states. And you can read that inside of this, but that still has an upward move inside it, even though it's collapsed at the bottom. Take it into 4 hours so we can see it even more so. Well, might be collapsing, but it's coming off the bottom, and that collapse is actually symbolizing the end of a down run, not an up run. So this, even though it's above the moving average, could quite easily get here. I'll be a bit concerned about it because it is bending over and there is no strength in it. Take it down into an hour so that we can see what's going on. It's fully collapsed in. It's breaking on the other side. So what could you do here? Very simple. You can go, right, I'm going to pick my bias, whichever it may be, put my fib on, just like so. Well, it's just tapped that. So it'll come into the 50, so it could easily sell into the 50, bounce this, and then go back on its journey, which is what it's going. So you can either start looking to scalp in on the short term or wait for it to pull back and then bounce back up. That's if you want to go long. But if you're going short, well, it's already showed its hand at this point. Just take the scalps down into the nearest key level. And the moral of that story is very simple. Don't trade what you think. Trade what you see. The market will give you enough information for you to understand what's going on. And then from there, you can make a logical, informed choice. And that choice, as long as you target correctly, doesn't matter whether you think it's a high or not. Because how many times have you seen a market and thought, there's no way that can go any higher? There's no way. And it keeps on going. Tell that to the indices traders of the last year. And there we go. So hope that helps. And as always, see you all in the next one.